Yo, how's everyone doing? So, I'm back with another video. And I got a question from, well, I'm not going to say their name because I don't actually have their clarification for this. So, but here's the question I got right now. Now, I got this question a couple times, but today I actually wanted to put this in video form in case some people were actually starting to get curious to indulge in the practice. This advice can really help out. Okay, so question 14 hours ago. You hit the nail on the head, kid, with your last statement about vulnerability, putting yourself on the stake to get stabbed. People are always telling me I have such thick walls and I need to lower them and be more vulnerable. And I am like, why? So some can stab me in my wound? Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I have really been on a journey of self-healing, but what I really need is a cathartic release. I will rage at people when I'm totally overwhelmed, but that just skims the surface so I can function again. I need to purge my bucket, I just don't know how. So, I mean, you saw the video, you know exactly how you got to do it. What it is that you're restricted. That's what it is. So, okay, you know what, fuck the noise because I know it's going to get noisy. I'm going to want to punch the camera in the face because I hate when all that noise goes on. Like, you know, it just, like, it takes me off my focus. But I get it, everyone's got to do their own shit and people live, so. This is the thing. So, you're bringing up, I do want to address this one really quick. You were bringing up how people establish that, you know, you need to let your walls down. Your walls. You need to, like, you have thick walls and you need to lower your guard and such. Listen, this is what I'm going to say. Lower your guard to who you trust. That's it. And this is how I approach vulnerability, yeah? I'm going to zip this up because I look stupid. Okay. This is how I'd approach vulnerability. I don't go at vulnerability from the angle of, you know, like, with me, dude, I'm vulnerable just because I'm real. Like, I don't care. I don't give a shit how people see me. You know, I apologize for the dogs barking in the background. I don't give a shit how people see me. I don't give a shit whether you think I'm amazing or whether you think I'm a total fucking dumbass. I don't care about these minuscule things and opinions and whatnot anymore, right? It doesn't get to me as much as it may have then. So therefore, it's a lot easier for me to let my guard down because I just don't give a shit. Now, the reason I bring that up for you, though, is, right, you know, a lot of people want to strive. Because here's the thing. You need to be authentic. You need to have vulnerability to meet your authenticity, right? But you don't need to be vulnerable because other people tell you to be vulnerable, right? See, I personally don't trust anyone who tells me I need to be more vulnerable or need to be anything. You know, when people tell me, like, you know, you need to be more open with me. You need to be more of an open book. You keep your guard up. That's kind of a red flag to me because it's like, if you're trying to rush the pace at which I'm an open book to you, that doesn't resonate with me. Especially if you know damn well you haven't been that much of an open book yourself. Never ever rush the open book. This is how I do it. I gradually let myself open. If somebody's telling me I'm not opening fast enough, well then I'm not the person that you need to be looking for that's gonna open up to you then. Because in that case, like, fuck you. I'm out. I ain't worried about your ass. Don't rush your opening process for anybody. Nobody at all. You know what I'm saying? So, I just really needed to point that out. So, look, when people tell you that, just recognize that you have your pace. Now, some people are ego caught in their vulnerability, right? You know, the most common saying is everyone's like, trust is earned, never give your trust. Personally, that's not how I work. I give my trust, and then people break it. Everybody has my trust until they break it. Or if I intuitively feel like I just can't give it to you. You know what I'm saying? But I'm no shell to it. You know, if I feel I can trust you a bit, I'm not afraid to give a chance because I'm not worried about a micro loss. I'm not worried about suffering a bit of pain here when I have my whole life in front of me. You feel what I'm saying? So I don't give a shit about things like that. I don't give a shit about trust is earned. Like, I'm not scared of experiences. A lot of what drives our thick walls, a lot of what drives us to not be vulnerable is because we're scared. You know what I'm saying? You're probably the type of person that can naturally open. However, what it sounds like, though, is that you've been hurt a lot at some point in your life, or maybe even just throughout in cumulative periods, to the point where now you've taken all this energy in and you've just wrapped it in yourself. Does that make sense? You've taken all this energy and you've stuffed it down here, and I feel what it is, you're too scared to let people see what you really are. And whatever reason that is, that's completely on you. And I can tell whatever reason that is, it really gets down to the primary wound. So, first, and a couple of other primary wounds that might be there, because, there's way more than one just going on from what I can tell from you. But again, that's just based off of what I'm reading. I don't know you personally, so no judgment or anything like that. I'm not placing judgment on you, or don't take it off as that, or take it how you want. I can't really control it. But yeah, just to reiterate my point, don't let anybody rush your vulnerability. Don't let anybody rush your opening book process. And recognize, are you the type of person that's putting up these walls because you're scared? Or is it just part of how you naturally unfold? See, if you put me back in school, if you put me in an environment where I just didn't know anybody, yeah, I'm not going to be really myself. This person you're seeing on camera right now, put me in a place like school, it's not the same dude. Put me in a place where I don't feel comfortable, obviously, yeah, I'm not going to fucking show this side of me. I don't give a fuck. I don't want to affiliate myself with these guys. You're not going to see that side of me out there. But whenever there's a spot that I feel a little more open to with my friends, and obviously stuff like that, yeah, the authenticity comes loose. Or even when I'm just by myself, I'm a lot more loose, But when I'm around an area of people where, judgment's high and stuff like that, of course, the walls go up. And naturally it is because of fear, in a sense. So, here's my pointers to you. You got to find what it is that's got what it is that keeps your wall so high, because that's the thing that's stopping you from having that cathartic release. And that lash out, those like you said, when you rage at people, when you have those lash outs, that's a result of two things. One, all that shit that you've pent up inside of yourself, and two, that's actually what it's in a sense what you want to do to them. And it's overspilling the cup, so little pieces of it are coming out. So yeah, you're right. You need that cathartic release. What's actually happening is, in a sense, you're so enraged with holding back. You want to let go. You're just scared to. That's what it is. And whatever it is that you're scared of, whether you're scared of their opinions, whether you're scared of losing a friend over this, whatever it is you're scared of in general, you've got to confront that. As a matter of fact, this is the thing that I think you have to do in order to confront that. And the reason I know that is because you've linked cathartic release to this whole situation. So I know that's the thing that you're fearing. You fear cathartic release, in a sense. It may not come off to you as that. It may come off as something else, like, I don't know, I was about to go somewhere with that. Like, it seems something else is the scary thing. And you, like, fuck, how do I start? You know what, fuck, I'm not even going to explain it, because that's just going to take up time. But that rage you have up on yourself, man, you gotta let that go. Because, like I said, you're scared to release. You're scared of whatever outcome might happen, or whatever might happen if you do this cathartic release. Whatever reason you're scared of, you've got to break that barrier down. By doing that thing, you don't realize it, but you're scared to do that. Now, the thing so actually, let me go back and reword that. It's not the cathartic release you're scared of. It's the result of what will happen if you do that cathartic release. And whatever that is, if it's people's opinions, if it's your friends that are going to think weird of you, if it's just whatever. But you do need to have that cathartic release. So, what I would do is, 1, identify the thing that scares you about this the most. what is the worst case scenario? What, like, you've got to be, because the thing is, I think you're the type of person that doesn't really have much touch with their emotions. I feel like you've, like, again, from what it sounds like, you've been stuffing this shit inside of yourself. You're probably the type of person that fake smiles their way through their day just so nobody else knows you're mad. Again, complete assumption. Because this reminds me of a couple people I've known in my past. So that's why I'm saying that. It sounds like, usually people who have lash outs and rages like that, it's a sign that they have a lot of repressed anger. It's a sign they have a lot of charge or resentment in some form or fashion that they've been continuously stuffing down onto themselves. I mean, they've been continuously stuffing inside of themselves so that way nobody else has to see it come out of them. And your body lets it out in ways that whenever it feels comfortable, or whenever it feels like it won't get judged for it or validated, right? It's probably easy. It's probably easy for you to cry if nobody's gonna judge you for it, right? It's easier to lash out on the phone with your boyfriend while you're driving than it would be to lash out in front of a couple people in the back seat that you're Uber driving, right? So, you know, the behavior patterns act different based on who we're around. So whatever it is that you're fucking scared of, and to be honest, this may even go as far as you're just scared of yourself. But we have to understand that fear is your primary thing here. You are holding yourself back. You are inhibited, and your inhibition is driven by fear of something. So we have to just throw you into the water. So getting on further to the second part of the question, because I had somebody else ask me, you know, how do you do it in a way that's spontaneous and not mechanical, right? And it was a really good question, and that's what she's kind of asking here is, I need to purge my bucket, I just don't know how. So I'm going to tell you exactly what I do whenever I go into a bioenergetic catharsis session. Anytime I go into it, right, the way that you have to tap into your spontaneity is to do things that get the emotion up, or to think of things, or to place things in your environment that get the emotion up. What I did for a while, so at first when I started doing, so I'm going to give you the examples I used with my ex, right, because this is the most recent times I did this. The first couple things I did was I would actually look at pictures of her, and I would actually kind of let that remind myself. I would think of the notes she wrote me, I would think of the things she used to tell me and stuff like that, and it would charge me. And it would bring that to surface, right? Now, because I was so inhibited, it was a little harder to bring those thoughts out because it had just been so stuffed down and I wasn't in a state to charge. So I had to, in a sense, mechanically engage that charge and keep feeding that charge to the point where it could spontaneously maintain itself, right? How much time do I have? Just so I know, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 5 minutes. Okay. So we're going to cover this down in 5 minutes or less. So I would think of that shit. Or, you know, so I started that. I started looking at pictures. Do things that remind you. Just think of things that trigger you. Like, for example, if you and your boyfriend had a really special song or whatever, or if there's a special thing that correlates to that anger, whatever it is, get something to just trigger you. One of the best ways to do this is music. You know what I'd do? I would look up sad anime piano. Don't ask me why it was anime. They have some awesome fucking piano scores. I'd put on that shit in the background, and then it would come up in seconds. I mean, seconds. I would pair that with just thinking about that, and then it would spontaneously, the emotion would create. And then as it would go, so this is, now you have it going, right? So at this point, whatever you've done to trigger yourself, whether it's having, like, for example, if like I had my girlfriend's notes, my ex's notes in front of me, right? Or if I had a picture, or if there was if maybe I lived down the street from her, so I just started looking at her car, right? Or some shit like that. Anything that can just hit the fucking trigger button. And then pair that with music, because music has an interesting way of influencing your vibration. And if you can pair that, boom, you can get the spontaneity happening within yourself to rise it. Another thing, stretch areas where you are tight at. for example, for me, jaw. What would I do? That's linked to my neck, right? So give me some massages. Right? So what that does is it allows it's getting it loose, right? And even just stretching, just simple stretch. You don't even have to go that crazy. I just got carried away there, right? You could even just stretch the neck. Get the tension out. You're tight in the chest. Go up against the wall. Put your hand against the wall and then just turn and then expand your chest. Do exercises that cause chest expansion. Right? You might be tight in your traps, so you do this. You might even really have a lot of tightness in your hips or your pelvic floor, so you start stretching that out. Stretch out the areas that you're tight, so that way, and then start moving it around too, because if you can incite movement and stimulus within that area, that's going to allow the emotion to surface easier. Fuck. All right, 2 minutes. Okay. So, recap. Find the trigger. Create that spontaneous trigger. So mechanically, you're going to have to engage it, but spontaneously it'll form. Stretching it out. Now, once you have it, you need to let it loose. Do not ignore it when it comes up. Do not try and suppress it. Do not, because I already know what you might do is this might get too uncomfortable for you, and then you might just stuff it right back down. I know that might be a tendency for you. I'm telling you, when it comes up, the best thing you can do is literally this. You just ready? Just wait for it. Damn! Right? Let that go. Just let out a giant fucking scream. Okay? I'm telling you. Like, let it go and then just boom. And then just keep it going. And then eventually you're throwing your body around. And then you're jumping. And then you're doing everything. Right? It's just going. You just fucking go. You don't hold it back. You don't think your way to catharsis. You don't think your way through it. You don't do this analytical science to catharsis. Right? You just fucking scream. You just jump into it. Right? You just have to fucking let it go. Let that shit loose. As soon as it engages you, fire off, dude. Fire off like a spark plug hits a fucking piston. Boom! Like an artillery shell on New Year's, man. Fire off. And then don't stop firing off. See how I'm out of breath right there? And then I would just keep going and going and going and going. So I'd be shaking my arms. I'd be moving my body. Right? All that. Catharsis just has to be done. The thing that you have to do is break the inhibition. Just by breaking it. You scream. You stretch. You shake. You breathe. You do anything you can to just go ham. The problem is you're not engaging yourself. You are not throwing yourself into it. Engage, release, and go. Done.